Investigators say an ex-policeman shot and stabbed 36 people, including 24 children. Investigators say the suspect had been fired from the police force for a meth charge. They believe he may have been triggered by an argument with his wife. That tragedy in Thailand raising questions about security at daycares across the world and here at home. Today, Jordan Carnback spoke to local child care centers about their protocols and how they handle potentially dangerous situations. Jordan.
That's right, Josh. Police say a 34-year-old former policeman shot his way through the doors of a northeastern Thailand daycare Thursday, killing over 36 children and adults. I spoke to experts in the field of childcare to see what protocols are in place to keep everyone safe here in Tennessee.
This was clearly the act of someone who was desperate and violent and unpredictable. And predictability brings peace and comfort to families.
A deadly massacre in a Thailand daycare, leaving over 36 children and adults dead, has sparked questions over active shooter procedures in Tennessee. Are intruder drills required by the state? How often and how does it work?
Okay, so there has to be one specialty drill a year. We chose to do an intruder drill. People can choose to be an active shooter drill, but they have to be trained on that whether they choose to have that drill or not. In most cases, I think most child cares do that now, because there's been so many incidences from Uvalde to what's happened in Thailand.
We asked Signal Center CEO Donna McConnico protocol in Tennessee in an active shooter situation.
Get the children away from the windows, get them to a safe place, and then do an activity, a quiet activity that's going to calm the children.
Chief Officer of Statewide Initiatives Heather Hicks says she has seen an increase in security efforts.
I think most agencies have really looked at this and are stepping it up. And if it's already at a high level, they're just continuing business as usual and making sure that people are checking in, they're showing that their IDs, and that when they're leaving, they're checking out as well.
Attacks on the healthcare sector are really at a different level to most others.
Days later, and some systems are still down at CHI Memorial after what the hospital's parent company calls an IT security issue. But a nurse at CHI who wishes to remain anonymous for fear of losing her job says this is a much bigger issue than IT. She said, quote, "My biggest fear personally is patient safety, especially with medication administration and electronic health." A CHI spokesperson confirmed they are postponing some elective surgeries and don't have access to electronic patient records, but wouldn't tell us if nurses and doctors are able to use medication safeguard systems. But the nurse we spoke to says, quote, "There is no way of scanning your patient's wristbands and scanning the medication to ensure it's the proper one. You're just kind of on your own," end quote. And that's not the only consequence. Hamilton County's EMS director says they had to divert patients from going into this ambulance bay on Monday. The hospital is still accepting critical patients, but are sending the less critical to other hospitals. Brett Callow is a cybersecurity threat analyst for MC Soft.
Normally, the consequence of a cybersecurity incident is lost time and lost money. In the case of hospitals, it could be lost lives.
The nurse at CHI says we're treating them as best as we can, but it is safety. We're worried that things are going to be missed. Adding, quote, "I think people in Chattanooga need to know how big of a deal this actually is," end quote.
It has been 1 year since we last checked in on the upkeep at Fort Hill Cemetery, and it appears that not much has changed. The father of a young woman is buried here, and she says you wouldn't believe the type of garbage that she has found on her father's grave.
And I really hate that he was buried here and that it's so rough here. And ever since the day he's been buried here, I've been trying to fight for it to be taken care of better.
Beer bottles, overgrown grass, and garbage bags are what Ashley Brown sees when she comes to visit the grave of her late father, Matt. She comes several times a week to mow her father's plot and pick up trash. To make things worse, she says she sometimes fears coming to her father's resting site because homeless people camp out on the grounds.
There's even some homeless people here that have a dog that they let run loose, you know, and that's just, this is a cemetery. It's supposed to be sacred and respected.
Tennessee District 24 representative candidate Kevin Raper also has family at Fort Hill, and he says issues of upkeep have been an ongoing cycle for years.
It gets in a state of disrepair. The owners hear about that. They come in and make lots of improvements, and then it happens again.
Raper is a former commissioner in Bradley County, and he says the commission and the DA have done everything they can to fix the issue, and that at this point, state law will need to be altered so that the DA can fine people and maybe even possess the property. We reached out to District Attorney Stephen Crump, and he tells us that he needs a petition with 10 signatures from direct relatives for the allegations to even be reviewed. He only has 5. But for Ashley Brown, she desperately wants her father to finally rest in peace.
Losing a parent overnight that you never thought would die at 38, and them being put at a cemetery that you didn't like, that you didn't allow, and that you didn't get a say, and now nobody takes care of it.